Okay, let's begin day one or workout one of the core balance and mobility program, basic level. Sansa and I are going to do it here together. You'll see her jumping in and out. And we're going to start with some standing exercises and some hip hinges. So start with your feet underneath your hips. You're going to keep a neutral spine throughout this exercise. As the name implies, you're going to hinge at the hips. So here, I'm going to send the hips back, shoulders coming forward, and I'm going to feel the stretch in the back of my leg, and I'll go down as far as I can before my spine starts to round, and I'll stand back up from there. And I'm going to do my 8 repetitions. This is a nice, easy tempo going down as far as you can, and then extending back up. This is going to be 8 repetitions. Keep your abdominals braced throughout the set here. Arms can just be hanging down. You can see how I have them, and they're just sliding down my side. 8 hip hinges. Moving on to overhead reaches. So I'm going to just stand again with my feet underneath my hips. I'm going to engage my hips, my quads, my abdominals, place the hands right by my side, and then I'm going to press my arms and try to come directly overhead. Then bring the arms back down to the shoulders and repeat for 8 repetitions. If this is really tough for you here, maybe you're not going to be able to get full range of motion if you've had a shoulder injury, but here you can just try to go as far as you can. It might be a little bit uncomfortable. You can go through a little bit of discomfort, but it shouldn't be painful, and there's a difference there. And squeezing your hips the whole time as you press up. Next, we're going to do some side lunge stretches, and we're going to do 5 repetitions each side. I'm going to take a wide stance for this, keeping my heels down as well as my toes and the ball of my foot down. As wide as you feel comfortable to, probably double the width of your hips. And then from here, I'm going to shift my weight to one side and hinge at the hip. One knee will stay straight, the other knee will bend. I will feel the stretch on the inner thigh here, and then I'll extend through, and I'll come back to the other side. If I come from this angle, you see the hips are again shooting back. Very similar to the hip hinge. It's another hip hinge motion here. But now we're also getting a shift of your weight from one leg to the other. Good, and next you're going to have some chin tucks. So just a chin tuck. All this is you're going to try to, you're working on your posture of your neck. So we want to be able to push the head back. So this is like, it's almost like somebody's going to be touching your face right here, and you're going to try to get out of the way of this. This is the posture that we want to have with our neck. This is putting your neck in a strong, stable position, fighting against this tendency to round forward. You know, we're all right here. So we're going to squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. Just 8 of these right here. This is really an isolated movement. I feel like I'm flexing right here, as well as my trap muscles back here. Great, next we've got some standing rack position stretch. So a rack position refers to when you're using a barbell and you hold it on your shoulders like this. And this is also happens to be called external rotation. So we're doing a stretch into an externally rotated shoulder position. So think about having your arms starting right by your shoulders, flipping your elbows, rotating your elbows almost so that they're touching together. Squeeze them in, and I feel the stretch underneath here. And then I just hold this position for 15 seconds. I'm flexing here and here. I'm stretching all along back here. Hold that for 15 seconds. The next one is going to be a standing cross-leg glute stretch. So I'm standing, I'm crossing one leg over the other, and then I'm going to be stretching my outer glute here. And think about like pushing it to the side and letting my hips go back and shoulders come forward a little bit. And I'm going to feel this stretch all along the outside of my leg. And honestly, for me, this is more of a hamstring stretch. So you could call it that too. Getting both sides for 15 seconds. And I don't need to go super far into this. Just holding a little bit goes a long way for this. Next is we're going to go here now. We want to make sure that we're close to the wall for these next few. It'll help us out. And the first one's going to be an ankle wall stretch. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my heel down on the ground next to the wall, and then I'm going to try to increase this angle at my ankle right here. I'm going to try to increase that first with a straight knee, and then halfway through the set we'll bend the knee. We'll do 15 seconds each side. I'm going to feel this stretch when I have the straight leg. I feel it throughout my lower leg, the back of my lower leg, my calf. Now I'll bend the knee in, so you can't quite see from that angle, but I bend the knee in here, and now I feel the stretch shift down to my Achilles tendon, lower, next to my ankles. So really it's about 7 seconds with a straight knee, and then 7 seconds with a bent knee. It's also stretching my feet, my toes. Next, I'm going to do a wall lat stretch. So I'm going to hold on right here, and then I'm going to place your hands anywhere you want, and then I'm going to shift my hips back, and I'm going to have my arms go through my head right here, and I'm going to feel this stretch all underneath my armpit and my upper back. Also, I want to think when I'm doing this stretch, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be internally rotated, I want to be externally rotated. So I'm rotating back in an externally rotated shoulder position. It's going to be next some one leg balance behind. So always use this wall as needed for balance. And place one foot down strong through the down foot. And then I'm going to kick one leg back. I'm just going to squeeze my butt to kick this leg back and hold that position. 15 seconds. And I'm just keeping upright here with my torso. Okay, then I can switch sides. And trying to stay balanced if you can, but the wall is there if you need it for balance. Good. Next, a high knee march. So I'm just going to be marching in place, and I'm going to do 8 each side, trying to get that knee high, but also making sure that I'm not rounding my spine to go up. No, I want to stay extended through my down leg and keep an upright torso position. I'm going to go next to some wall W pulls. So I'm going to go with my heels, my hips, my shoulder blades, and my head against the wall. And I'm going to start relaxed at the shoulders, and then I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blades and try to get my elbows and my wrists against the wall in this W shape here. Notice that my elbow is below my shoulder. My head is kind of even with my hands, and that's where I want to end up. So I'll relax and I'll squeeze, going for 8 of these here. And you may not be able to get your wrist and your elbow back. You may not be able to get either one back. That's okay. Just go as far as you can. This is another one of these where it might be really, really tight. You're having to fight against that tightness. But yeah, do try to work that out and measure your progress. Lastly, for this portion, we've got some standing kickbacks. You can be against the wall as needed for balance. Yeah, I'm actually going to be leaning into the wall, and then I'm going to just kick one leg back, kicking back with my heel, and then sweep it back into place. And I've got 8 of these that I'll do 8 each side. Really squeezing my butt. Don't let your spine arching around. Keep it in a neutral position. Your abdominals have to stay engaged during the set. Really squeeze back fully every time. Squeeze your hips.